Hello, my friends. If you're new to the channel, this is a regularly scheduled Thursday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. live stream that we do for members. Excuse me. It's unlimited questions. It's just all you need to do is sign up as a member on our YouTube channel, Tarot for Traders. In any case, so we're here on the 10th. Interesting. So this is why I like to take the safe option and exit the long. So we're kind of like opened in the pre-market roughly about the same price level, and now we've got this drop. So out of this drop, like right around the open, most likely we're going to see a really big move to the upside, a fast, sudden move to the upside. We're going to take a look at SPY. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin. And then we'll have questions and answers for anybody that usually people have tickers that they want to take a look at. Something I wanted to mention, guys. I had somebody ask me about the Boeing earnings, and they did so well ahead of the earnings. Usually people wait until the next day. I just wanted to remind everybody with this stuff, you've got a higher accuracy the further out you predict. I know that might sound crazy to somebody who doesn't understand prediction or somebody who's a skeptic, but this is based on manifestation, and forgetting what it is that you're intending is a big part of a successful manifestation, especially for people that aren't like, that had to like train their mind in order to do this stuff, like, or retrain, I should say, like myself. So the further out you go, the less muddled the manifestation becomes. And in essence, a prediction is a manifestation. So I'll just remind everybody as well that this is a very interesting one-day reading where we have 4 significator cards. That's basically all of the significator cards on a one-day reading are nullified, meaning that there's information that we're not seeing, and there's no correlations to the significator cards and the timeline cards in this one reading. So it makes for a very difficult reading to time highs and lows. I usually tend to avoid trading on days like this. We'll come back and we'll kind of give you an idea of what's happening next as we go through it. The 11th is a solid trading day. So we'll talk more about that as we progress into this session. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Well, there you have it. So hopefully people have exited. If they didn't exit, we're still kind of like in the price range of the exit. And if you're new to the channel, guys, I draw on these charts with ellipses. I'm not always right. Like, I moved this stuff to better reflect what I expect happening based on what transpired. This move didn't take as high as I thought. And based on the overall theme card being the failure card, my sense is that these are going to be prominent peaks, but not necessarily highs. And here we are on the 10th, right? Out of a scary decline. Technicals would lead us to believe maybe we're going lower, but instead we move to the upside. That's that futility card. Yeah, and this is going to be one of the days in the reading that's really going to give me a lot of clarity as far as the remainder of the reading based on what transpires today. Like the fact that we're so low in comparison to the high for the month. Roughly 64,587 roughly. So since we're so far away from that, we really need a huge move today to take us back to those price levels. This seems very unrealistic, especially with the futility card. The futility card is a notable move to the upside out of a decline, but it's, if it was going to be a move like this, I mean, it would be the Aeon card, the Star card, the gain, not probably not even the gain card. You know, it would be one of the big upward cards. So, you know, it's important to understand, to read into what cards aren't showing. You know what I mean? And so as you go through actual time, and the beginning of the reading starts to transpire in real time, and it gives you clarity as to whether or not you're on point with these things. When something's off point, it gives you even more clarity, because based on what transpires, like today, the fact that we're so low, this is going to be a prominent peak, most likely within either more decline or sidewaysy behavior, but probably more decline, and that would make these prominent peaks and these prominent peaks in that case as well. So by the end of the day, we'll have a much better idea. But the next real solid trade, there's a trade on the 12th. But it's a long trade. I don't like to go against the overall pattern, right? Like the overall trend for the month is very strong decline, right? So you could, in the midst of this decline on the 12th, open along and close it at an important technical price level of resistance on the 13th, but it's a little bit risky because it's against the overall trend, right? I'd rather go with the trend. And why is that? Okay, so the reason for that is that if you have a really strong downward trend or a really strong upward trend on, like, you know, the scale of like the 1 month or the scale of the 1 year or something, all of the cards in the reading, if it's really strong, if it's like, you know, notable, but it's not like hugely strong, then the upward cards, or the cards going the opposite direction of the overall trend, they'll come to fruition as you would expect. But with a strong trend in either direction, the cards moving against that overall trend, their energies are like dampened. So if you got like a big upward moving card in an overall trend to the downside, often what'll happen is that big upward moving card will just give you a little bit of upward movement on the way down. Hopefully that makes sense to people. That's why the theme card is so valuable in informing you on the rest of the reading. This is all stuff I'll go into even more depth in the Investor Profit University. We're probably going to launch that in March, I'm thinking, because I don't want to rush into it. And it's a little close based on the amount of work that we have to complete before the end of the year. So we're going to do that for probably March. Enrollment will be obviously months ahead of that, but we're going to talk a lot about how to read these cards, the 25 years of experience that I have doing this. You know, I would say actually on the 11th, let's take a look. On the 11th, probably what you could do, maybe on the cusp of the 10th, 11th. I would say on the cusp of the 10th, 11th, today and tomorrow, on the cusp, if we're at higher price levels than we're currently at right now, if we're like within this ellipse right here, all right, so if we're within this ellipse today or early tomorrow, I would say that's opportunity to open up a short. And then on the 12th, you'd probably cash out of that. Back down at these levels. These swing trades we've been doing, for the most part, they've really been pretty solid. I'm not sure why Siri always thinks that swing trade means talk to me. Yeah, Siri, stop interrupting me, please. Very rude of you.
Okay, I'll call you Adam Creef from now on.
Hey, it was luck. Good morning to you. Yeah, this looks pretty solid, and I would say actually let's do it like this. If you're new to the channel, again, these ellipses are where I expect like reversal. So the red ellipses where I expect to see like a trough or a low. Excuse me, woof. And the green ellipses are where I expect to see like a peak, a crest, a high, something like that. So these are good entry points to get into trades, and I draw these to help guide people, especially if I'm not around at the time. If you see the price level enter into these, and I'm not on like Discord to tell you, hey, do this, then follow along with what the previously discussed plan was, which is the ellipses are there to help you identify that. Hey, AV. Out of these three, which one will have 2 times plus returns over the next 2 to 5 years? My marker keeps moving. All right, so HNST, FUBO, and SOFI, SOFI. Which one of those 2 times plus returns over the next 2 to 3 years? It looks like none of them will actually. I'm gonna take a look. I might have a multi-year on SoFi. I'm gonna check in just a sec. Yeah, and then I just confirmed it. I asked, was I correct in that? Reading that correctly, none of them do 2 times plus returns, and I got a yes for that. How does Oracle put look today? Oop. All right, so right now is this kind of like back and forth 3 times confirming a bullish trend, the virtue card right around the open, and that's after this devil card drop. Ooh, so hard to read this with these nullified cards, guys. It's easy for me to see the overall trend pattern, but to determine the price levels, really, like, price level ranges, really, really difficult. So I'm going to avoid advising day trades today. I will advise maybe how to set up for tomorrow. We'll see. Because by the end of the day, the nullifications don't really matter anymore. Oracle. Hmm. How does an Oracle put look today? You might be on the right track with that one. Let's see. Well, for today, you could do a day trade. It's going to continue to go downward. So put a day trade put, not a bad idea. Let's see about on a multi-day swing. So we'll meet an important support level as the overall trend between now and the end of next week. There'll be an important support level on a multi-day scale that we come up against, and then we rotate sideways, and then eventually that sideways rotation will end with a fast sudden move higher. So overall bullish between now and the end of next week, but today is a downward trend. Yeah, I would say if you're doing the put, make it a day trade. And that doesn't mean buy expiration same day or next day. Don't do that to yourself. Trust me when I say don't do that to yourself. Make sure your expiration is out past like 7 days from where you plan on exiting, because that will help you to be in the right state of mind when making trading decisions as far as entry and exit. If you don't give yourself enough time, especially if you're doing out of money, which you really should not be doing, you know, if you don't give yourself enough time, it will make your decision, it will skew your decision making ability. And that is, in essence, the only thing that you need in order to make profits in the market is proper decision making skills. So if you start with a handicap, you're already off to a bad start. So please take that advice. Don't do same day or next day expiration, period. It's always a good idea to give yourself a backup exit in case you're wrong, which is something that sounds crazy from a technical trader standpoint, because backup exit, how would you do a backup exit? But SO Meta, we're actually timing and we're seeing ahead. We're not planning the future based on the past. We're looking at the future and planning accordingly. So you can look ahead and find these backup entrances and make sure that you give yourself at least one backup for a short. Will CELH reach 40 next week? Well, be mindful now. We've gone through the 2024 low on this, so I'm going to adjust that. But be mindful, there is a gap here that needs to be filled. What do I mean by that for anybody new to trading? A gap on a technical chart, it's very, very reliable expectation that that gap will eventually be filled. And by that I mean, so we had this price level of 30.54 roughly, 30.46 roughly, and overnight we moved up so high that there's like this whole area where there was no price. Like we just skipped 30.50 roughly to 33.23, so about $3. We came down to 32.26, but still, all of this at some point in the not too distant future should be filled. So, in theory, you could position yourself with a short position that will make money when the price level reaches this. You don't want to just jump right away into that, because who knows, it could go much higher, depending on the situation. But you do want to keep that in mind as a potential trade when the time seems right. So will it hit $40? Really look great. That's like interesting. That price level is like right above the support. I think the support is, well, actually probably right here. No, I think that there's a good support there at like 40.20. So let's see how about that. So will it reach $40 by next week? Yes or no? Well, that's a affirmative on that one. Does it go higher? If you're just hopping on, guys, I'm doing through deduction here, trying to identify a price level that we should meet next week. $40 is on the table right now, but I'm looking at 41.56. Let's see. All right, so we don't hit that high, but you can expect on us hitting that $40 range, most likely. And again, guys, if you're new to trading SO meta-analysis, please remember, big important rule of thumb: you do not want to trade SO meta. You do not want to use price levels as entry and exit points when trading SO meta information. SO meta information meaning the information from Terror for Traders channel, which is SO meta is the third form of analysis. It's so different in the way that we extrapolate information and data, that it's an entirely different way that you need to learn how to trade. It's a better way to trade, but it's like almost like you unlearn some other stuff. If you've got technical analysis trading behind you and you add this information into it, you should do phenomenally. So what you want to do is you want to use price ranges. This is where intuition really comes in a little bit into necessity. So if that's something that you're weak in, intuition is not something that you're just born with, my friends, like many people think. Intuition is a muscle. It's something that can be developed over time. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Another thing that we'll talk a lot about in the university in 2025, because we're going to talk about how to make these predictions effective and how to make sure that they're accurate. It's about the law of attraction and manifestation more so than it is about seeing the future. I mean, in a multi-dimensional reality, we're both seeing the future and creating the future. Both of those are happening. So I would say, if you're looking for a long exit somewhere within this range, a prudent SO meta trader is always gonna tap out as soon as we enter this range. Somebody maybe a little bit more risk, they'll wait till we're kind of like in this range, but I personally like to go with as soon as we tap the range. Sometimes I'm off, sometimes I'm too early, sometimes I'm too late. If we enter that price range before the ellipse, that would be a signal to exit as well, because the plan is to exit within that price range. It just happened earlier. All right. Let's see if there's anything along the any other entry points along the way, though. It doesn't look like there's a better entry point between now and then, so you might want to enter into this trade today. I'd say open up a partial long if you're looking to trade this. Yeah, open a partial long. If we end up covering this gap before we see that, I would say add to the long. Exit when we reach this ellipse here. Can I please look at KWEB, XYL, and XYL remainder of the week and next week? More overall bullish or bearish? Sure thing. Do we have one? I feel like we have one for KWEB. Yep. More overall bullish or bearish remainder of the week. So basically today, tomorrow, and next week. Yeah, this one's going lower. I'm getting clairaudience about this one, so I would definitely follow clairaudience. It's very, very reliable. My first kind of like innate gift was clairaudience. So do we fill that gap? Yeah, we're gonna fill that gap. We're gonna fill this gap right here before the end of next week. Wednesday of next week, there's a pretty significant opportunity. It's the full card, so it's a little hard to read it if it's a bullish or bearish opportunity, but I would pay close attention to the chart. Maybe revisit asking me about this on Wednesday. We'll take another look. All right, XYL. Guys, rule of thumb. So if you've asked me about one of these tickers before, or better yet, if you haven't asked me about a ticker before that you're asking about, just mention, hey, this is the first time I'm asking about that, and it'll save us some time because then I'll know just to make a new chart right there rather than look for it first. It'll save me this step. See? Sorry guys, one sec. All right, so overall for XYL, and I'm gonna cap the questions there, guys. This one I think is probably moving to the upside. I got the Magus cards, it's a little interesting. Let me try that again. No, something going on there though. Hold on. Ask me about this one tomorrow. It's a little unclear. Are any of these coins going to have a strong rally from here on out in current run? INTX, KENDU, fight. Let's see here. Not really, none of them really. All right, my friends, with that said, I'm going to roll. Our next live stream will be tomorrow between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern time. Much love, guys. And let's just go over the trade tomorrow. Wow, that's really interesting. So we've got a Princess of Cups in the high position. We've got a Princess of Wands in the low position. This might be a first that I've seen, but what this is indicating is that there'll be a high, like the decline off of the day's high will offer opportunity to open up a long position before we revisit the high or go higher. The lows saying the same thing about the lows. The rally off of the low will offer opportunity to open up a short position before we revisit the low or go lower. So my sense is that there's a good opportunity here on the 11th to open up a straddle, not both legs at the same time, but one leg at a time. Oof, there's going to be a lot of back and forth going on tomorrow. So the rally out of the open, or the rally out of the low in the first half hour, that'll offer opportunity in two regards. For a day trade where you could open up a short and close the short when we decline back down and then start rotating sideways, revisiting a support here, probably around 11 o'clock, somewhere between 11 and 12, but probably closer to 11, you would exit out of that short for a day trade. Or you could open up a partial short in the midst of that rally for like a swing trade into tomorrow. And I say partial because we've got highs midday. That's probably where you want to complete opening up the short. And I would say when we hit this sideways rotation along key support, after we have a rally in the morning and we come back down where you would close out of the short position for a day trade. If you're looking to do the straddle into tomorrow, then you would, rather than closing the short position, what you would do is you would open up a long position partial, because most likely you'll have opportunity in this Empress card decline off of the highs, right? That's to add to that long position, and that'll put you in a straddle. You want to try and have the same if you're doing options, the same strike price, same expiration, but put the legs on at separate times, which you would never do with technical analysis. You would treat both legs like one investment. In SOMET analysis, you're treating both legs like you're balancing out your risk tolerance, basically, for a lot of movement in both directions. But because with SOMET analysis, you can actually time the market, you can enter into both legs separately and exit both legs for a profit, rather than waiting for a huge move in one direction and closing both legs together like you would in technical analysis. All of this stuff goes in and will be stuff that we cover in the Investor Profit University in 2025. There is no question about Apple, AV. That's so weird. That happens with you a lot. I don't know what that's about. But there's definitely no question above, did you miss my cue about Apple? There's no question above that about it. But let's take a look real quick before I roll. Oh, and I'm also going to cover CHZ real quick. Apple is another ticker that, as of December, will be covered monthly on a daily basis. It's part of our monthly access subscription. The 1 year is something that will be covered by total access subscription. Okay, so you want to be careful here because there's another low based on the October low significator card. There's a rally out of the low, which should offer opportunity to open up a short before revisiting that low. And most likely it will be revisiting the low here in October. So this isn't an awful place to get into a short position to capture that. What is that, like 228 to 221-ish? Do we go higher first? Hard to say with that pleasure card as the high significator card. Yeah, this is probably not a bad place to get into the short. I would say get into a partial short here. And so this is probably where you want to exit. When we enter into this ellipse here. How does CHZ token look for the end of October? Actually, I think I've got one for this. I'm pretty sure I did the reading on this one. Did I? No, not yet, I guess. All right. Oh, I photographed the spread, right? This is one that's going to be covered by Total Access subscription. So basically, Total Access subscription, once the 1 year comes out for this, this will be covered with the live Discord alerts and live updated trading view chart as part of Total Access. We are changing the pricing of Total Access to do a monthly service, so you can get it monthly now. It's the change hasn't actually been reflected on the website, but it should be by tonight. The remainder of October. So this is going to see sideways fluctuating decline preceding a notable rally. So the decline is opportunity to open up a long position on a long-term, like a multi-day buy and hold position. Has Apple hit the high when we yeah, so it looks like we're pretty close. If we didn't hit the high there, then we're really close. But the cards were saying enter into a short here. All right, my friends, with that said, I'm going to roll. If you just hopped on, next live stream is regularly scheduled Fridays, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, unlimited questions, as long as you're a member of the channel. If you are not a member of the channel, we do subscriber-only questions, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Wednesdays and Sundays. All right, my friends, good luck. I'll see you guys on the Discord.